you've done the work of building the wall in front of your own house first. Now it's time to try to start getting people onto your farms. Farmers are very stubborn. The best way they learn is by seeing it themselves, and they're going to believe it from another farmer way before they will from a university plot or an industry plot or anything else. So just trying to get these farmers who are maybe interested or looking over the fence a little bit. It's a huge social thing, though, to be able to have to go to your neighbor and say, show me what you're doing, because I don't know that I'm doing it completely right. And that's a big hurdle to overcome. And so there's a film series that will be coming out in March, and it's called Roots So Deep. Peter Vick is the filmmaker. I don't know if any of you have seen any of his Carbon Cowboy. He put out like 10 or 12 Carbon Cowboy. They're like 10 or 12 minute little short videos, but he's got a 4-part series. Each part's about an hour long. I've seen 2 of them now. And what they do is they go in and it's all about grazing down in the southeast, but they're moving it north now. But they find somebody who's doing a really good regenerative amp grazing, and then a neighbor very close to them that is doing it very conventionally. And then they send in like 15 different science teams, and they take all these measurements and do all this analysis, and then they get the neighbors together and they let them talk and they show the data. And it's so interesting to watch the interaction between the neighbors, because he has them on a porch, kind of like Derek and I here, and I'm like, yeah, well, I drive past and I see it, but I've never been on his farm. It's like, well, why wouldn't you? Because the other neighbor says, well, you'd be welcome anytime, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. It's the social stigma of trying to do that. If you can figure that part out, figure out how to break through that, to break through those defenses, to get them, and just to see what some of these practices can do, I think that you can have a lot of success. Some of it can't be the immediate neighbor who would be considered more of a competitor on land or land rents or something. It might need to be somebody that's 20 miles away or 30 miles or next county over or something that's still a similar environment. I just think you got to get them on the farm and let them see with their own eyes the practice and then the result. And there's nothing more powerful than that, but that's not an easy thing to do, to break through that social stigma. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I think one thing that maybe, at least on our farm, a little bit of what we do get a little better job is, everybody kind of sees our planting green, and this last year things started out looking pretty rough, as did other places, but we didn't follow up really good with the end story, where we had corn that we had planted on a small portion, that we had to till 30 acres that had some tile put in and stuff, and that corn started out phenomenal. And, it looked better through the season for the most part, but when I came to chopping, and we were out there harvesting that field versus the field that was planted the same day across the road, into some rye, and it had looked a little tougher, struggling, the spindly look, and then it got dry. At harvest time was better, and we bring people out and we kind of show them, some of the early stuff, but, we're not always following through with the end result, other than maybe just the yield, but not getting them on the field to actually see how that corn that looked tough and, caught up, and how even some of them crops become. I don't know how it happens,